Hi, my name's Khalil, and welcome to Someone Lives Here podcast. I'm here with Graham, and yeah, thanks for being on.
You're welcome.
So, I guess we're here at a better tent city, and I was wondering how did you end up here?
Well, I've known Nadine for a long time, and she seen me on the street one day, and it was no winter time. And she says, "Come out here and get warm. It's too cold out here to be on the street." So that's how I ended up here.
Uh,
I've been
how
here
how
ever
long?
since November. So yep, I ended up being on the streets, and then I just ended up here.
Yeah, how long were you on the street?
I've been off and on the streets for about 4 years.
4? Yeah. How was it for you while you were on the street?
It sucked.
Yeah,
Straight up, it sucked.
yeah.
Not wondering where you're gonna sleep at night and stuff like that. It's pretty hard. Especially in the wintertime. Pretty cold out there.
When you're staying outside, like what did a day look like for you?
A day looked like terrible, cloudy and gray. To be honest with you don't know where you're gonna sleep at night, right? Because just things just terrible. Everything possibly could happen happened. You know, just everybody looks at you kind of strange because you're on the streets and like we're different kind of people, right? But we're the same as everybody else. Just I don't know, down on our luck. That's all.
Like if you went through like an average day, and I know it's kind of hard to just be like, oh, that's an average day, but
Mm-hmm.
like if you wanted to walk through an average day with us, I'd love to hear what that was like.
Well, average day is if I slept, I would be just wandering around the streets, just basically trying to survive more or less. Going to places like Soup Kitchen to get food in the morning, and then stay there all day and maybe get a couple hours sleep there, right? And then after that, I would just basically wander around till supper time, and then just have supper, and then next would be trying to find a place to sleep again. And it wasn't too easy, that's for sure. Every day is pretty well the same when I was on the streets. Don't know where you're going to sleep at night and stuff like that. I wouldn't suggest it for anybody. Nobody. It sucks. Straight up.
Did you usually stay in a tent or were you just moving around?
Yeah, off and on in tent, and here and there, friends' places or whatnot. The odd time it was at a friend's place, sleep overnight or something like that. But other than that, it was basically outside, sleeping bag, wherever I could find a spot was there was cover, you know, get out of the weather and stuff. Summer wasn't so bad, but winter was the worst.
Mhm. And did you ever stay in the shelter?
I did stay at the House of Friendship. That lasted about 3 days.
What happened?
It's just like it wasn't for me, There's so many rules and regulations you gotta follow. I couldn't do it. It felt like I was in prison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
And
you couldn't have any visitors or anything like that. No, no, thank you.
did you leave or did you
I
get
just
kicked
left.
out?
I just
Yeah.
left. I couldn't do it. I tried it, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah. How do you find a better tent city?
I find it awesome. It's a great place.
Nice.
People are pretty. I know pretty well everybody here, so we get along pretty good. And Nadine's the greatest. You couldn't ask for anybody better. She helps. She got a good heart. Helps everybody out. It doesn't matter if you're the baddest guy in the world or the nicest guy in the world. She'll be right there to help you. She'll give you a chance, right? That's what I like about her. She doesn't judge anybody.
What does a day look like here for you? Like what does an average day look like?
Average day here,
Like from like when you get up to like when you go to bed.
like how would you put it? A nice sunny day. Put it that way.
Okay.
It could be raining or whatever. Still, to me, it's a nice sunny day. 'Cause everything's completely different. Like You don't get judged out here, but you do. I help out in the kitchen and stuff, right? I do dishes and whatnot. Help when I can, right? Which I don't mind doing, right? But here, I get along with everybody, and it's just great. I like it.
Nice. And I guess what what's your favorite part about being here?
Um, the people, like, we all get along, you know what I mean? Like, I get along, well, there's a few that, hotheads, whatever, but when it came down to it, we all get along, you know? It's, it's just, I can talk to everybody, and they don't judge who you are.
Yeah.
If I ever go on the street and people look at us, they kind of look down and their noses at us, like, you know? That's completely different. And we're just human beings like everybody else. So why they look at us, frown on us because we're homeless? Well, I don't understand it. We're not rich, so they look at us like we're different. Even, you know, it's just I don't understand why.
Hmm. And so sorry, I just sort of lost my mind just then. Just.
It can happen.
But yeah. So that's interesting. When you're staying outside on the street, were you like in encampments usually, or you're just on your own?
On my own, pretty well. Just me, myself, and I.
Did you make a point of avoiding being near other people?
Yeah, kind of. I kind of want to stay, kind of embarrassed in a way when I was on the streets because people looked at you. They looked at you strange, right? You never see anybody walking around on the streets at night with carrying a knapsack with sleeping bag or whatever else, right? They think they're stereotype as far as I'm concerned because they think everybody that's on the street they're criminals, but we're not. We're just trying to survive, just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
If they just get inside to see what we were all about instead of just thinking they're stereotyping us, then they maybe get a better picture of what we're really all about, you know? Other than that, I pretty well stay to myself. I don't like too many people.
Yeah, but I guess now that you're at a better tent city, like living in community, you find
Mhm.
that it's nice.
It's easier, yeah. If we all were in the same, kind of in the same boat, right? So we can kind of relate together, you know? And it's a lot easier than being out there because people they push you through. They don't actually get the time to sit down and understand what we're going through.
Hmm. Yeah, like how many interactions did you have with the police when you're staying?
A few, but nothing major. Just asking what I was up to and stuff like that, right? And where I was going. I said, well, I'm going nowhere.
Yeah.
Other than that, I never had no real problems with the police.
Yeah. And I guess now that you're at a better tent city, there's like you don't see the cops.
I do occasionally they come in here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they come in, maybe looking for somebody, obviously. But other than that, I don't talk to them. They don't bother me. I don't bother them. So I'm not doing anything wrong. So
Okay. And I guess before you became unhoused, what what were you doing then? Like where were you staying?
I was staying at my dad's place, and my dad had to move from where he was at to a two-bedroom condo. And the rules and regulations is you got to be on the lease and you got to do this and do that. And I wasn't paying rent there, so they said, "Well, you can't stay here." And I said, "Well, I didn't want to give my dad any problems, so I left." Right?
Yeah.
So my dad's 91 years old, so
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And is there anything that you like? What is something that you had when you were housed that you don't have now that you're at a better intensity that you would want?
um, more space.
Yeah.
That's about it. I'm happy where I'm at right now. Like, it's a roof over my head. I get it's food in my belly, and it helps me a lot.
Yeah. I guess I noticed there's the health bus outside of a
Hmm.
better tent city. How does it feel to have access to like healthcare consistently here compared to being on the street?
Great, because you come in. I think it's twice a week, and it's great because you don't have to go anywhere. You're just right there. And if you got real serious, then you have to go to the hospital, obviously. But yeah, it's great.
And I guess when you're staying outside, did you access any like did you see a doctor ever or go to walk-in clinics?
No, I
No.
try to stay away from those places.
Yeah. So it's yeah, so I guess without the bus you wouldn't be accessing like healthcare.
No, I would like. I'm a hospital phobic. If there is such a thing, I don't like going to hospitals if I don't have to.
Yeah.
I wait till the last point to go there, the hospital. Other than that, you won't see me in the hospital.
Yeah. And I guess you've been here since November and yeah, like what are your hopes for the future for yourself? Like
My hopes are to get myself back on in in the employment industry to work again. But now I got a place to stay. I can do that, right? I can start looking for a job, right? Because when you don't have a place to stay, you can't figure, well, where am I going to sleep tonight? If I can't have sleep tonight, how am I going to go to work, right? You got to get yourself straightened out one step at a time, right? So now I got a place to live. I will look for um, employment, which I have been, between helping here and whatnot. Yeah, I might get back in the industry again and start working.
okay. That's awesome. And so yeah, I guess I might have said this when we started or before we started that I guess the hope is for lots of people to be seeing this podcast that, might not know anything about,
Exactly.
people's experiences of being unhoused. If you had like one thing you wanted to say to someone, like what would that be?
What would it be? Try to walk in my shoes for a day and see what I went through. Because you know what? It could happen to anybody. Just like that. That's basically what I'd like to say. Is don't judge us for who we are, because we're just a human, just like everybody else. We're down on our luck. Things happen. I've seen people go from being up here, rich, to down to nothing, right? So don't think it can't happen to anybody. It can. Just like that. That's
Okay.
basically it.
All right. Thanks, Grant.
You're welcome.
That's awesome.